Chris Nolan is back. He's directing The Odyssey, starring Matt Damon as Odysseus, and it's a retelling of an iconic, legendary story that's been told for over 1,000 years. But does this film different from previous iterations? Does it take a different style, a different approach, or is it the same thing we've seen over and over again? Let's break it down. The movie stars Matt Damon as Odysseus and his journey to get home to his wife Penelope, who is ruling the country of the kingdom of Ithaca on her own. And her husband is sent away on a mission and going through an incredible journey that we all have heard multiple times, fighting cyclopses, fighting 10-foot monsters, getting cursed by witches. And that's basically the plot of the whole film. Is Chris Nolan had an opportunity to tell the story of the Odyssey on a scale that we've never seen before. And that's what this movie accomplishes more than anything, is that it tells the story, but in a non-linear way. Surprise, surprise, Chris Nolan tells another movie in a non-linear way. And we'll get into a little bit of that criticism later, but this is basically how the story is told, how this movie separates itself from other Chris Nolan films. In this film, Matt Damon plays Odysseus, and I think what makes his character very different from other portrayals of this character sort of on the big screen is that he does a great job of playing powerful, has so much control over a lot of the story. He's able to make it realistic and grounded throughout the entire movie. And you also feel very emotionally connected to him, and you're rooting for him throughout the entire journey, which is the most important part of the film, is that he's going to carry you and you are rooting for him. You want him to succeed. You want him to get back to his homeland, Ithaca, to his wife. And Matt brings that realism, the authenticity, and it's all grounded, and you feel like you're immersed with this world with this character. And I think that's what Damon did an incredible job in this film with those specific things. Tom Holland plays his son Telemachus, who is sort of a boy surrounded by men who are all trying to suit his mother Penelope, and he has a great vulnerability of playing this young kid that's just trying to prove himself amongst all these men. And he's done this before. We've seen Tom Holland play the boy in The Impossible and the Spider-Man movies, where he has this boyish youth vibe to him that he can portray on the big screen. And I think that's why Chris wanted him in the movie, so he can really understand that, it's a world dominated by powerful men, and you're just a little kid trying to make your way up. And I think that's what his character does a great job of showing and accomplishing, the youth nature of that world. Anne Hathaway plays Penelope. She is Odysseus' wife, who's trying to hold the kingdom together as he is gone and has gone all across the world. So she is the emotional anchor of the film. I felt like she had to kind of control, had to deal with the suitors and deal with her family and try to anchor the emotions of the movie, and she does a brilliant job in the film. She is very human and very authentic throughout the entire film, like she is in a lot of her movies. And she is, also in this film you have Robert Pattinson playing Antinous, who is sort of the villain of the film-esque a little bit. I didn't necessarily like his performance in this movie. I felt like he was a little miscast in the film. His character is supposed to be wants to kill some other characters within Odysseus' family and trying to gain power and control in Ithaca. But I felt like his character wasn't villainous enough, right? They didn't know which way to turn this character. Did they want him to be more likable, more hated? I felt like the vibe was off. I wanted to see a more violent, vicious, cruel character of Antinous in this film. Instead, they kind of made him a little bit of both, right? It needed to be more authentic and more aggressive towards the other characters. And I feel like Robert Pattinson, when you're this big of a star, you don't necessarily need to be playing a supporting role. You could have been Odysseus if you really want to think about it. Robert Pattinson could have been the lead in the movie, but I think it was completely miscast, and I didn't think they kind of Nolan didn't execute that character that well. But overall, the casting is incredible. John Bernthal, Lupita Nyong'o, Benny Safdie are all great in the film, and the casting really works and helps. In a film like this, you need certain actors that can have a great emotion availability to portray on the big screen. And of course, if you're going to watch a Chris Nolan film, what you're definitely wanting to see more than anything is you're going to want to see the big set pieces. And this movie delivered on the big set pieces. There are over 3 or 4 incredible set pieces that I'm still shocked at how they were able to shoot it on the big screen. One in particular, there's, not to spoil anything, but there's a big scene with a monster, and certain characters kind of have to fight and work against the monster. It lives up to the hype, and it's shot in a way that I have never seen shot like that on a big screen before. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. The scale, the size, from the beginning to end, lives up to the hype. If you're expecting to see awesome big set pieces in this movie, you're going to see it like you do in every Nolan film. He knows how to shoot it. He knows when to use CGI and when not to use CGI. He's incredibly skilled at not overusing CGI. So many directors nowadays, they have these toolkits, they have AI, they have all these different things, but they don't necessarily know how to utilize the CGI to help enhance the story, and also don't use it too much, right? That's what makes Nolan so special, and you see that in this film. He uses CGI only for it's always the last option, and I wish more directors knew that CGI should always be the last option in order to tell your story, and he does it better than anybody. And this film is not a linear story, and that was something that I wanted to get into. Was, a lot of Nolan films have sort of the similar thing where he uses time as a way to kind of tell the story, and this film kind of falls in those other films like Tenet and some of the Batman films and Inception, where the story is non-linear, and this is something that's different from other iterations of the Odyssey, where those films were more of a linear story. This is completely time. You're jumping around at different periods of time of the film, and you're seeing Odysseus at different stages of his life, trying to get home. And it's very different, but it's something we've seen Nolan do again and again and again, and he's probably going to do it more in the future, and it works. People like the non-linear storytelling. And it's different from the other iterations of the Odyssey, so I think he was just trying to do something different. But it was something I was expecting to happen because it's usually a Nolan film and that's what he usually does. So it doesn't bother me a little bit. It would have been cool to see more linear storytelling, but it is what it is. Overall, I'm going to give this movie a 8.8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I won't necessarily say it's my favorite Nolan film, but it's an incredible film that you must see on the big screen, particularly in IMAX if you can. And it's a one-of-a-kind movie. You're not going to get movies of this scale. That you don't get them that often. So what did you guys think? Did you like this movie? Leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. Thanks, guys.